It's January 14th, 2015, and this is your Fortean Slip News. Woohoo, yeehaw, go get 'em.
And our first story from the HuffingtonPost.com. Super Earths may have stable oceans that are key for alien life. NASA's Kepler Space Telescope celebrated its 1,000th exoplanet discovery earlier this month, an impressive milestone in the search for life on other worlds. Now astronomers are homing in on those exoplanets that may have liquid water, which is thought to be essential for supporting life.
In hopes to find Godboy!
I love Godboy. And according to new research, so-called super Earths may host vast oceans that last for billions of years. A super Earth is, I just imagine the super Earth with a cape on and, I don't know. Sorry.
He'll drown in the oceans on a super Earth. Godboy!
A super Earth is an extrasolar planet whose mass is greater than Earth's but smaller than that of a gas giant like Neptune or Uranus.
No.
No.
Don't. No.
Not even one?
No.
Earth's mantle hold vast amounts of water which returns to the surface through volcanism. Since this recycling process is crucial for maintaining our planet's oceans, researchers from the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astronomy wondered if a similar process might occur on super Earths. The researchers used computer simulations on various super Earths to find out how long it would take oceans to form on them and whether the oceans could be sustained. What did they find? Well, super Earths between 2 and 4 times Earth's mass seem to be even better than Earth at establishing and maintaining oceans. In fact, the water on these planets could last for at least 10 billion years, the research suggested. The finding may give astronomers one more thing to consider when figuring out which exoplanets are likeliest to harbor extraterrestrial life, according to Laura.
Godboy!
The findings were presented in Seattle on January 8th at the annual meeting of American Astronomical Society. Excuse me. I knew I'd get it sooner or later.
Doing a good job, Steve. Doing a good job.
No, I'm not.
You're doing all right, man. You need a pat on the back?
Better than normal.
Okay.
From Wired.com, we've got fantastically wrong, it says, why so many people think they've seen ghost dogs with glowing eyes.
Ghost dog! Oh.
At the height of World War II, a 4-year-old British girl was sent to bed but could not sleep. Sitting on the edge of her bed, fiddling with its ornamental knobs and staring out the window, the girl heard a scratching noise. Then out of the corner of her eye, a massive black dog appeared and trotted in front of her, turning its head to stare at her as it passed between the bed and the window. It had very large, very red eyes, which glowed from inside as if lit up, she later recounted. And as it looked at me, I was quite terrified and very much aware of the creature's breath, which was warm and strong as a gust of wind.
And that little girl's name was Little Red Riding Hood.
But before she reached the door, it had vanished. It was a hound that goes by many names: Black Shuck, the Hellhound, Black Jack, Gallytrot. Gallytrot? Depending on the observer, it can also be white or yellow. It rarely speaks, but sometimes laughs. Every once in a while,
Grandma,
it's missing its head.
what big hairy nipples you have.
Every once in a while, it's missing its head completely, and a few have been known to shapeshift. And it's not just England that the hellhound stalks. Similar tales can be found all over the world. But why is this myth so widespread, and how can we explain why so many people have claimed to have seen the hound? This tale necessarily begins with the wolf. Humankind has had a long, complicated relationship with the beast, largely because before we fully ascended to the top of the food chain, wolves were a serious threat. But with time, they warmed up to us. Aww. They'd hang around our fires watching for our scraps, while the bolder ones slowly edged closer. In time, we domesticated the wolf into a dog, and blah, blah, blah. Fast forward several thousand years to ancient Greece. I don't want to read about the wolf. This is about the hellhound. I want to know about the hellhound. Fast forward several thousand years to ancient Greece, and the dog is firmly planted in mythology with Cerberus, the three-headed hound that guards the underworld.
Or Cerberus.
But this is far from... whatever. This is far from the only association of dogs with the underworld.
Doing all right.
According to Bob Dominguez in his book Samara and Her Children, The Dog in Indian Myth. He writes that in ancient Persia, dogs were the preferred means of disposing of dead bodies. Elsewhere around the world, stray dogs resorted to scavenging, at times on humans, earning them an association with death. However, Debroy knows this association with the afterworld or dead souls did not prevent dogs from being elevated to divinity. There's the ancient Egyptian Wepwawet.
I'm sure that's exactly what it is.
Wepwawet. Wepwawet.
I'm with you.
I'm sure it's right. Okay. A dog-like god that opened roads to the underworld. The Aztecs also deified the dog Xolotl, who carried the sun, Xolotl, Xolotl, who carried the sun through the underworld.
I carried the sun through the underworld once, Steve.
I carried my son's underwear. So just as our relationship with wolves was complicated,
Fuck
so
was that?
I have no idea. It was, you told me not to try, and I still do, and I'm just not good at it.
So are there hellhounds or not?
I don't know. The story doesn't say if they're really actually hellhounds, but you can read more at wired.com. We just, we like dogs, and we like to make them creepy, I guess.
Sure.
But our story of the night from NPR. NASCAR's Kurt Busch testifies that his ex-girlfriend...
Steve, if it's from NPR, you're in no way allowed to have any excitement in your voice as you prepare the story.
All right, hold on. Let me retry. From NPR.com. NASCAR's Kurt Busch testifies that ex-girlfriend is an assassin. Testifying about a request for a protective order against him, race car driver Kurt Busch, told a Dover, Delaware court this week that his former girlfriend is an assassin.
And that he is James Bond.
Patricia Driscoll, who dated Busch for 4 years, requested the order last November shortly after their relationship ended. Driscoll has also filed a criminal complaint against Busch, alleging that he grabbed her and slammed her head into the wall of his motor coach at Dover International Speedway last fall. Busch denies those claims, which authorities have been considering separately. Those circumstances brought about 4 days of testimony from Busch and Driscoll that almost certainly stands unique among anything ever heard in a family court. The former NASCAR Sprint Cup champion said that Driscoll is a trained assassin dispatched on covert missions around the world. The Associated Press reports the news I can't read the story that way, Chris. Busch and Driscoll repeatedly asserted her assassin status and claimed to
fucking read this Mr. and Mrs. Smith fucking story.
Busch and Driscoll repeatedly asserted her assassin status and claimed the work took her on missions across Central and South America and Africa. Everybody on the outside can tell me I'm crazy, but I've lived on the inside and I saw it firsthand, Busch said. From USA Today, once he said they were in El Paso, Texas, where Driscoll had left that night in camouflage and boots. She returned later to the hotel at which he was staying wearing a trench coat. Under it, she was wearing an evening gown splattered with blood and other matter. Those details add to a picture that was painted earlier when Busch and others testified that Driscoll claimed she was a trained assassin who had killed people, including drug lords.
Either that or she was really good at hiding fucking around.
Yeah, I guess so. Busch and his attorney, Rusty Hardin, I don't know why that name makes me laugh, are holding up Driscoll's status as a mercenary to refute her claims that she was abused. I know that she could take me down at any moment, Busch told his attorney Monday, because she's badass. Yeah. Local TV station WBOC notes, neither Driscoll nor her attorney refuted the testimony about her telling people she was a trained assassin. Driscoll lives in Ellicott City, Maryland. She heads 2 organizations, both of them based in Washington, D.C.
And if this defense doesn't work, Steve, he's going to go with the Ray Rice, sometimes you gotta smack a bitch.
Anyway, she owns 2 organizations, or heads 2 organizations. The Armed Forces Foundation, a veterans advocacy group that partners with NASCAR. And the other one, which sounds a little fishy to me, is Frontline Defense Systems, whose website says Driscoll spent the majority of her career in the narcotics and intelligence world.
She's Jean Bond?
Oh. Jane Bond?
Jane Bond. That works a little better.
Could be. And that's the news, Chris.
That's great, Steve.
That's just it is.
That's wonderful.
I don't think it was that good. I tried to read the story.
You don't try to read the story. You barely read the stories.